Hello everyone, this is Blanco from Smooth Parenting at smoothparenting.com, and I'm here today for our weekly Smooth Parenting tip. This week we're going to talk about sleep, and we're going to talk about the 5 most common mistakes parents make around their child's sleep. And as you probably know, I started working with families around sleep, children's sleep, helping them help their children's develop healthy sleep habits in a gentle way without leaving them to cry it out. So after working with hundreds of families around the world, I realized that there are a group of mistakes that parents make that are very preventable and that usually interfere with their children's sleep. So I wanted to share those with you so you don't fall into the same traps. The first one is having unrealistic expectations. What do I mean by that? When we talk about healthy sleep, most people fall in the trap of thinking that a baby should sleep through the night. There's this common misconception that they should sleep through the night around 4 months of age. And that's a very unrealistic expectation. Even though there are kids who actually can sleep through the night, and by that I mean 12 hours straight at night, most 4-month-olds can't. So when I hear new parents come to me at 3 months old and tell me, well, my baby's still not sleeping through the night and so's baby is already sleeping through the night. Well, first of all, you have to have the right expectations. You need to know how many hours a child can actually sleep through the night at every age. So you don't fall into traps and put yourself expectations that your baby can really accomplish. And the second component is knowing how many hours your baby can sleep straight, because your baby can very well settle on a pattern of sleeping through the night 12 hours by 4 months, but he might still need 1 or 2 feedings over the night, and it's just a very quick feeding, 10 minutes and they go back to sleep. But you have to have the right expectations. If you're expecting your child to sleep 12 hours straight at night by the time he's 2 months old or 3 months old, because that's the time where you have to go back to work, that's a very unrealistic expectation. It's only going to make you unhappy, frustrated, and it's something that you really can't control. It's going to happen when it's going to happen. When your baby is biologically ready to get there, he will get there. So that's one of the first things that I always talk to people about, is having the right expectations around sleep. The second most common mistake is lack of consistency. Consistency is key, not only for babies but for ourselves as well. But the main problem that I see with families around consistency is having one method every night. So one day the baby sleeps in the parent's bed, the next day they want him to sleep in the crib, the next day they rock him, the next day they don't rock him. So in order to teach him how to sleep, they try one thing every night. So the baby basically gets ultra confused because he doesn't know what to expect, because every night or every other night their parents are trying something different. So my advice to you is to be consistent, to learn about all the options that you have around, how to teach your child to sleep and how to develop healthy sleep habits. Decide on what you want to do and follow through. And by follow through, I mean stick to it. Don't give up the second day. It's like I'm just going to try something else because this didn't work. I tried for 2 days and it doesn't work. We don't change habits as humans. We don't change habits in 2 days. It takes time. Like if you want to start a diet or you want to start an exercise plan, it takes time. For babies, it's the same thing. It takes some time for them to adjust. So just make sure you are consistent on what you do around sleep. The third most common mistake is not having routines around sleep. Children need a wind down time, the same thing we do. Like you don't just arrive home from work, change clothes and go into bed. You usually need some time to decompress, to get in the mood, and then relax and then go to bed and sleep. A lot of parents I see, they just look at the clock. They have a set schedule and they say, oh my God, it's 1 p.m. I have to put my baby to sleep. And the baby's, fine playing in the playroom with his toys, and then he's picked up, changed diapers, placed in the crib. Obviously that baby's not going to fall asleep. And he's not going to develop any healthy association around sleep. So to the extent possible, I always ask parents to have the same routines around sleep. So before bedtime and before nap time, having some time to bond with your child, to calm down, to chill, hug, connect, and then it's bedtime or nap time. But make sure you have that time for them to understand that now we're going from staying awake to going to sleep. The fourth most common mistake that I hear, especially in big cities, I work with a lot of families here in Manhattan or in major cities where both parents work outside the home. They have very hectic schedule. So the fourth most common mistake is having a parent-led schedule. Yes, I know. A lot of you think I'm crazy when I suggest that the schedule should be led by your child. And, we sometimes try to impose our lives, our lifestyle into our babies. And babies, first of all, are not developed yet. Their bodies have a certain cycles, sleep-awake cycles, when they need to be fed, when they need to rest. And those are natural cycles to your baby. So for you to think that you can impose a certain schedule on your baby, it's just going to set you up for failure, and it's going to create a lot of frustration. So my advice around this is to always try to follow your child's cues. And I hear a lot of parents say, well, my mom came for a visit, and even though my daughter was asleep, and I woke her up so she could see grandma. Or, my husband was traveling all this week, so he wanted to see the baby when he got home, so I kept her awake until 9 p.m. So he could see her. I see these excuses all the time to justify how we try to force our schedules into our babies. And, I had never heard that around feeding. Like, I have never heard anyone said, well, it was lunchtime, but since my mom came to visit, I just skipped that meal so my baby could be with my mom. I had never heard that. Or I have never heard, since my husband wasn't going to get home until 9 p.m., I just didn't feed my baby until then because they wanted to have dinner together. I don't hear that. Sleep is as important or more important, because we can actually go 2 weeks without eating, but we can only go 4 or 5 days without sleep. So trying to impose an adult-led schedule on our babies is the first recipe for disaster. We have to listen to their bodies and follow their cues, and let them sleep when they need to sleep, and let them feed when they need to feed. And finally, the last mistake that I see parents make is to use sleep, or to use the crib, as a punishment. What do I mean by this? Like, especially with toddlers, I hear this a lot in families. Like, if you don't do this, you're going to go to bed earlier today. You're not going to watch a movie and you're going to go to bed earlier. Or when the baby is misbehaving or the toddler is misbehaving, they just put him in the crib as a timeout zone. So first of all, I don't agree with punishment in general, and I don't think timeouts work anyway, regardless of where you do them. But associating the crib and sleep with punishment, something punitive with your child, is the first step towards him hating the sleep and not developing a positive association with the sleep. You want your child to love sleep, to listen to his body, and when he feels it's time to go to sleep, to want to go to sleep. Like, I don't have to tell my daughters it's time to sleep. Or when they are tired, they will tell me I need to go to sleep. And that's the healthy way around sleep. So please don't ever use the crib or sleep as a punishment to your child. Okay, that was it for this week. I hope it was helpful. And come join us if you want to have more tips. Come to our website at smoothparenting.com, or come join us on Facebook for live discussions at facebook.com/smoothparenting. All right, until next week. Bye.